The Valorian system had always been quiet. Its twin suns shone gently on oceans that glimmered like molten silver. Floating cities hovered above the waves, connected by bridges of light and crystal. The Valorians were a peaceful people. They had built their world on knowledge, art, and harmony with nature. But peace is fragile, and the universe does not wait for the weak. Far beyond their system, something moved with hunger and fury. The Xylar, a species of warlike raiders, swept through star systems, destroying every civilization in their path. Planets were burned, populations enslaved, and entire cultures erased in a heartbeat. No one could stand against them, or so the Valorians believed. In a small command center on Valoria Prime, the alarm lights blinked violently. Valorian officers rushed to their consoles, their delicate hands trembling. On the main screen, a warning blinked repeatedly. Incoming distress signal from deep space. The signal was strange. It pulsed with a rhythm unlike any communication they had ever received. It was desperate. It was raw, and embedded within it was a voice calling for help. "Please," it said. The Valorian translator struggled to decode the frequencies. "Anyone, help us, Xylar, unstoppable." The message cut off. Only a fragment remained. The Valorians stared at the screen in horror. They had always feared this moment, but now it was here. They were not ready. Their defenses were advanced, yes, but nothing could face the Xylar without immense power. They needed allies, friends strong enough to challenge the storm of destruction. Meanwhile, light years away, the signal reached Earth. Humans had changed. Generations of survival on death worlds, planets with crushing gravity, lethal predators, and poisonous atmospheres, had forged something extraordinary. They had built fleets that could endure the impossible, warriors who could thrive where no other species could survive. They were called the Deathworlders, and when Earth's command center intercepted the Valorian SOS, a single thought ran through their minds: "We will answer." Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the flagship Dauntless. Her dark hair framed a face lined with years of battle, her eyes sharp and unyielding. "Read that signal again," she ordered. The officer at the console nodded, fingers dancing over the holographic interface. "It is a distress call, Commander, from a species unknown to us. They are under attack. They are pleading for help." Voss's eyes narrowed. "Show me their coordinates." "Plot the fastest course." "Yes, Commander. Jump route ready in T-minus 15 minutes. "Good," Voss said. She walked slowly across the bridge, observing her crew. Humans who had survived worlds of fire and death walked among her, calm and focused. They were not heroes, they were Deathworlders, and they did not hesitate. Back in Valoria Prime, the alien leaders gathered. They watched the stars anxiously, hoping, praying for some miracle, and then from the void enormous shadows appeared. At first, the Valorians thought their sensors were malfunctioning. But no, massive shapes moved into position. Warships unlike anything Valoria had ever seen were emerging from the darkness. The human fleet had arrived. Super carriers, battle cruisers, and stealth frigates unfolded in formation, engines glowing faintly as if the void itself obeyed them. The Valorians could feel the presence of power. Not the kind that crushed planets instantly, but the kind that inspired awe. Fearless, unyielding, unstoppable. One Valorian whispered, almost to themselves, "Who are they, gods?" Commander Voss's voice cut across space, though the aliens could not hear it. She spoke to her own crew, her tone calm but firm. "Prepare for engagement. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is our mission. Nothing more, nothing less." The Valorians looked at each other, hope sparking in their eyes for the first time in decades. They had sent a message into the void, a cry of desperation, and somehow the humans had heard it, not because they were curious or because they sought glory, but because they were capable of facing death itself and surviving. Voss walked to the viewing deck, staring out at the distant Valorian world. "We may be far from home," she murmured, "but these people need us. And we do not leave anyone behind." Somewhere in the vastness of space, the first pulse of the Deathworlder fleet's engines began. The message was clear: humans were coming. And the Xylar would soon learn that some species do not flee, do not surrender, and do not negotiate with fear. They fight. They endure. They win. And the galaxy would never forget it. The human fleet moved like a predator through the void. Massive supercarriers glinted faintly under distant starlight, their hulls black as midnight. Smaller frigates darted around them, agile and lethal, while battlecruisers thrummed with silent power. Every ship seemed alive, as if it could think and react on its own. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the flagship Dauntless, watching the formation. Her hands rested lightly on the console, but her mind was sharp, analyzing, planning. Maintain defensive spacing. We approach the Valorian system in T-6 hours, she ordered. The crew responded with practiced precision. Every human aboard knew their role, trained through trials no other species could survive. They'll be expecting help, her communications officer said. But I doubt they've seen a fleet like this. Voss nodded. Let them be awed. That will buy us a few moments, and that is all we need. The Valorians watched from their orbiting cities, their fear mingled with wonder. They had never seen ships this large or powerful. Even their most advanced defenses seemed fragile in comparison. And yet the humans moved with calm, deliberate purpose. No fear, no hesitation. Just focus. Just resolve. In the training decks of the human ships, Marines ran simulations for the coming battle. Every scenario, every possible threat was analyzed and rehearsed. Some worlds would have called it obsession. Humans called it survival. A Deathworlder Marine never expected to survive by luck. Survival came through skill, endurance, and determination. Alara Voss visited the Marines, walking silently among them. She stopped beside a young soldier, barely more than a teenager, who adjusted the armor of his exosuit. "Ready?" she asked. The young Marine looked up, eyes fierce. "Always ready, Commander." "We do not fail." Voss gave a faint smile. "Good, remember the people we fight for are counting on us. Not because they asked for our strength, but because they have no other choice. We give them hope." As the fleet closed in on Valoria, Voss received reports from scouts. "Commander," the intelligence officer said, "Xylar forces are approaching. Their fleet is faster than expected. They'll reach Valoria in less than 12 hours if we do not engage now." Voss's eyes narrowed. "Then we meet them before they reach the planet. Prepare the fleet for jump point entry. This will not be a simple display. They must know who they are facing." Meanwhile, the Valorians prepared for the humans' arrival. Scientists and generals alike gathered, debating strategy and hoping for guidance. Some feared the humans, their sheer size and power unlike anything in Valorian history. But the leaders could not deny the relief they felt. Humanity had answered their call, bringing salvation from impossible odds. And yet, even as hope grew, fear lingered. The Xylar had never been defeated. They had never encountered a species like the Deathworlders. The Valorians did not know whether the humans could survive what was coming, but the humans did. That was the difference. Hours later, the jump point shimmered in the depths of space. The Dauntless and the Armada entered, the fabric of space bending around their ships. When they emerged, the Valorian system stretched before them, calm and beautiful yet under threat. The humans aligned themselves around the planets, a shield of unimaginable power. Commander Voss addressed the fleet. "We are here to protect, not to conquer. Every Valorian life is our priority. Do not falter. Do not hesitate. We fight for survival, ours and theirs. Let them see what it means to face Deathworlders." The Valorians watched from orbit, their hearts pounding. Ships like mountains surrounded their world. Humans moved as one, disciplined, fearless, resolute. And for the first time in decades, the Valorians believed they might survive. A soft alarm sounded on Voss's bridge. Sensors indicate Xylar vessels approaching the system edge. They are faster than predicted, but still outside the Valorian orbital zone. Voss's lips curved into a small, confident smile. "Good, let them approach. Let them see who awaits. They will learn in the coming battle that some species do not fear death. They embody it. She turned to the communications officer. Send them a message, simple, clear. Let them know we are here and we do not back down. The officer hesitated. Voss's gaze was sharp. Do it. Xylar, the officer said, voice steady. This is humanity. We are the Deathworlders. You will not touch this planet. You will not harm its people. Turn back now or face extinction. The message was not a threat, it was a promise. And as the humans waited in formation, calm but ready, the Valorians realized something extraordinary. These humans had survived worlds that would have killed anyone else. They had walked through death and returned stronger. And now they were here to face the greatest threat the Valorians had ever known. Hope, fragile and bright, ignited across Valoria. Because humanity had arrived. The darkness of space broke as the Xylar fleet appeared. Jagged shadows glided through the void, engines burning with red-orange fire. Hundreds of ships, each shaped for war and destruction, advanced toward the Valorian system. Their presence sent shivers through the sensors of every Valorian city and human vessel alike. The galaxy's nightmare had arrived. Commander Alara Voss watched from the bridge of the Dauntless, her eyes calm but alert. Status report, she ordered. The Xylar fleet is larger than we anticipated, said her tactical officer. They are heavily armed, faster than predicted, and they show no sign of hesitation. Voss nodded, her voice steady. That is irrelevant. They are fast, yes, but we are prepared. Ready the fleet for engagement. Target their forward units. Shield the planets first. Nothing reaches Valoria while we are here. The human ships shifted into formation, moving as one. Smaller frigates flanked the massive supercarriers, while battle cruisers took positions to strike with precision. Even in the face of a superior force in numbers, the humans were unshakable. Each crew member knew their role. Every weapon was calibrated, every strategy rehearsed. In Valoria's orbit, the alien leaders stared in awe. What are they? One whispered. How can they move like that? Their fear mixed with wonder. These humans were unlike anything Valoria had ever known, and for the first time they truly believed survival was possible. The Xylar sent a message, crude and harsh. Submit or die, it barked through a distortion-heavy transmission. Its tone carried centuries of conquest. It was meant to intimidate. It did not work. Voss pressed a button. Reply concise, calm. Xylar, you will not reach this planet. Leave now or face destruction. Silence followed. Then the Xylar ship surged forward. Explosions erupted as plasma bolts tore through space, striking the outermost human frigates. The first shots of battle lit up the void, a violent storm of fire and metal. But the humans did not falter. Ships twisted and dived with uncanny precision. Plasma bolts met counterfire, deflected or destroyed. Every move seemed impossible, yet perfectly executed. Commander Voss's voice rang over the comms. Hold the line. Protect Valoria. Show them what it means to challenge humanity. Valorian citizens watched from their orbiting cities. Some hid behind walls of reinforced glass. Others stood openly, hearts racing. The humans fought like no other species had ever fought. They were not just defending, they were conquering fear itself. On board the Dauntless, Voss observed the battle unfold. Her crew worked in unison, almost as if they shared a single mind. Engage their command vessels, she ordered. Hit them hard and fast. Let them feel what it is to face Deathworlders. The first human strike hit. A massive Xylar cruiser erupted in flames, twisting through space as it lost control. Smaller ships scattered, confusion spreading among their ranks. The humans pressed forward, relentless, unyielding. Some Valorians gasped. They are not like any army we have seen. They are unstoppable. A young Valorian girl watching from a floating city clutched her mother's hand. They are saving us, she whispered. They came for us. Even though they don't know us. Voss overheard nothing. She did not need to. She watched, heart steady as the Xylar faltered. Humans would fight, yes, but they would not fight recklessly. Every movement, every shot was measured. They were not motivated by hate or greed. They were motivated by necessity, by survival, by protecting those who could not protect themselves. Minutes passed. Explosions lit the void, burning like tiny suns. Yet the human fleet held strong. The Xylar, for all their fury and firepower, had met resistance unlike anything they had ever faced. Ships that had once dominated entire star systems now fell before humans forged on the deadliest worlds of all. Voss turned to her tactical officer. "Prepare boarding teams," she said calmly. "Some of their vessels will try to escape. Let's ensure none survive to threaten this system again." The officer hesitated. "Commander, they are heavily defended." Voss's eyes narrowed. "And we are Deathworlders, go." Back on Valoria, a collective breath held. Citizens and leaders alike watched as the humans, this strange and fearsome species, moved through space with elegance and terrifying strength. The Xylar were more than surprised, they were afraid. And for the first time, the galaxy's most ruthless conquerors would realize that there are beings who do not back down, even when death waits at every corner. In the heart of space, the battle raged on. And amidst the chaos, one truth became clear to all who witnessed it. Humanity was not merely strong. Humanity was unstoppable. Humanity was hope, and hope had arrived. The battle erupted like a storm. The Xylar fleet surged forward, engines blazing, plasma cannons cutting through the darkness of space. Explosions illuminated the void as ships collided, twisted, and shattered. Valoria trembled beneath the onslaught, its citizens watching in horror and awe. The sky above their floating cities glowed with the fire of a war they had never imagined. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, her eyes unwavering as she directed the fleet. "Focus fire on the lead Xylar cruisers. Protect the planets at all costs. Remember your training. Remember why we are here." Her crew moved with terrifying precision. Every human vessel maneuvered as though connected by a single mind. Frigates darted between cruisers, drawing enemy fire away from the supercarriers. Battle cruisers unleashed volleys that shredded the Xylar hulls, explosions trailing through space like falling stars. "This is unlike anything I've ever seen," said a Valorian scientist watching from his observation tower. "They fight with skill, yes, but also with something more. Courage. Fearlessness it is. Inspiring." On the Dauntless, Voss responded not with words but with action. She ordered a concentrated strike on a cluster of Xylar ships attempting to flank the human formation. The volley hit perfectly. Xylar vessels exploded in fireballs that drifted silently in space, debris spinning in the void like tiny meteors. Yet the Xylar were relentless. They did not retreat. They adapted. They attacked harder, faster, with merciless intent. Their strategy was simple: overwhelm, destroy, conquer. But the Deathworlders had faced worse. They had survived planets that would kill anyone else. They had endured storms that stripped flesh from bone, predators that devoured the strongest, atmospheres that crushed lungs in seconds. Death did not frighten them, it honed them. A Valorian soldier whispered, "How can they do this? And not even flinch?" "They are humans," another replied softly. "They are Deathworlders." As the battle raged, the Dauntless received reports of civilian distress signals from Valoria's orbital cities. Voss's jaw tightened. Divert support teams to the affected sectors. Protect the civilians. No one dies today if we can help it. Small human ships broke from the main fleet, weaving through chaos to evacuate the injured and defend the vulnerable. Even under heavy fire, the Deathworlder Marines moved like shadows, precise and deadly, neutralizing Xylar boarding parties before they could strike. Valorian eyes widened as they saw humans leap from ship to ship in armored exosuits, their movements a blur of speed and strength. Each Marine was a living weapon, surviving attacks that would have killed countless other species. And yet they fought not for glory, but to protect those who could not defend themselves. Voss directed a counterattack on the Xylar command vessels. "Hit them where it hurts," she said. "Take out their leaders. Show them that humans do not bow to fear or tyranny." Volleys of plasma tore through the flagship of the Xylar fleet. It shuddered, sparks flying from its hull as human precision strikes disabled critical systems. Smaller Xylar ships attempted rescue, but the Deathworlders were relentless. Boarding teams struck from the shadows and one by one Xylar vessels fell. Valoria's citizens began to cheer, though quietly at first. Then louder. They saw their planet protected by beings who did not know them, yet fought with every ounce of skill and courage to save them. Hope burned brightly across the cities, and for the first time in decades, fear gave way to belief. Voss watched the battlefield with satisfaction. "They think numbers matter," she said softly. "They think size and firepower define victory. They are wrong. We are humans. We adapt, we endure, and today we fight not just for ourselves but for those who cannot fight at all." The Xylar faltered. Their formations broke. Confusion spread through their ranks as human tactics proved impossible to predict or counter. Ships that had once crushed civilizations now found themselves retreating, unable to comprehend the fury and precision of the Deathworlders. As the battle continued, one truth became undeniable. Humanity was not just powerful. Humanity was unstoppable. Their courage, strategy, and endurance created a force greater than any Xylar weapon. And Valoria watched, hearts pounding, as humans reshaped the battlefield. Ships moved with a grace and purpose that seemed impossible, striking with deadly efficiency. In their wake, devastation fell upon the Xylar, and hope soared for the Valorians. In the heart of chaos, Commander Voss spoke quietly to herself. "We will protect them. We will survive. And when this battle ends, the galaxy will remember what it means to face Deathworlders." The first wave of the Xylar assault was breaking, and the humans were just getting started. The battle had raged for hours. The void of space was scarred with streaks of fire and debris. Xylar ships burned like dying stars, their destruction echoing across the silent darkness. Yet for all their power, the Xylar refused to surrender. They had one weapon left, something so terrible that even Valoria's strongest defenses could not hope to withstand it. Sensors aboard the Dauntless blinked urgently. "Commander," the tactical officer said, voice tight. "They're activating a superweapon. Energy readings are off the charts. It could obliterate the planet in minutes." Voss's jaw tightened. She had faced death countless times, but the knowledge that an entire world could vanish under her watch sharpened her resolve. "Estimate time to impact?" she asked. "Less than 30 minutes, Commander," came the reply. Voss's eyes scanned the fleet. Every ship was already engaged in combat, shields holding, weapons firing relentlessly. She took a deep breath, her mind moving faster than thought itself. "Prepare boarding teams. Elite squads only. We will stop this from inside. No one else can do it." The Valorians, watching from their cities, saw the energy flare of the superweapon. A dark sphere, bigger than anything in their system, floated menacingly near the edge of their orbit. Panic spread across the population. Mothers clutched their children, elders whispered prayers into the air, and scientists shouted frantic calculations that meant nothing to anyone else. But the humans did not hesitate. Pods launched from the Dauntless and its escorts, streaking through the chaos at impossible speeds. Inside each pod, Deathworlder Marines readied themselves, exosuits gleaming under emergency lights. Their weapons were deadly, but their determination was even deadlier. They were not soldiers, they were survival incarnate. Voss activated her personal comm. "Team Alpha, proceed to core entry. Disable the weapon from within. You know the risks. None survive if you fail." "Do not fail," a voice answered, steady and fearless. "Understood, Commander. We will end this. We always survive." The pod struck the superweapon's hull like lightning, tearing through defenses with plasma torches and magnetic drills. Xylar drones swarmed to intercept, but human reflexes and skill were unmatched. Every move, every strike was calculated and precise. The Marines moved like shadows, infiltrating the heart of the weapon with terrifying efficiency. Inside the superweapon, alarms blared. The humans advanced through narrow corridors, disabling systems with a mixture of technology and brute force. When a Xylar security unit appeared, They met them with unrelenting ferocity. In seconds, the invaders were neutralized. Voss monitored every feed, her calm voice cutting through the chaos. Push forward. Disable the energy core. We cannot allow this to reach Valoria. Minutes stretched into eternity. The energy core pulsated dangerously, the countdown ticking ever closer to catastrophe. But the humans did not waver. With final synchronized precision, they planted charges, severed critical conduits, and reversed the weapon's power flow. From Valoria, the citizens watched the sphere tremble. Lights flickered across its surface. A deafening hum rose, then exploded outward. The superweapon's core detonated safely in space, the shockwave dispersing harmlessly into the void. The Xylar fleet faltered. Their ultimate weapon, the tool that could erase life, was gone, destroyed by humans who had walked through death itself and returned stronger. Confusion spread among the attackers. Their coordinated assault collapsed, leaving them vulnerable to counterattacks. Voss allowed herself a small breath of relief. She turned to the tactical officer. Prepare the fleet to pursue. Finish this. The Deathworlders surged forward. Their precision strikes carved through the broken Xylar fleet. Ships that had once dominated entire star systems now fled in panic, unsure how to fight beings that thrived on danger itself. Across Valoria, relief turned into celebration. Citizens poured into the streets, cheering, crying, and embracing one another. Their world was saved, not by luck, not by diplomacy, but by humans who had endured the impossible and refused to bow. A young Valorian child ran through the streets, eyes shining. They are incredible, he whispered. They came from the stars to save us. They are fearless. Voss watched from orbit, her expression unreadable. She did not smile, for the battle was not yet over. But deep inside, a sense of quiet pride settled. Humanity had faced annihilation before. Humanity had stared into the jaws of death and walked away unbroken. And today they had saved an entire world. She sent a message to Valoria. The immediate threat is neutralized. Your people are safe for now. Humanity does not abandon those in need. Remember this. The Valorians listened, hearts full. For the first time, they understood what true courage looked like. Not the courage to conquer or dominate, but the courage to face impossible odds, to protect, to endure, and to survive. And somewhere in the stars, the Xylar learned a harsh truth. Humans do not surrender. Humans do not fear death. Humans, the Deathworlders, will fight, and they will win. The galaxy had just witnessed the turning point. The void was quiet after the destruction of the superweapon. Smoke and debris floated silently in the aftermath of battle, painting a grim tableau against the endless black of space. But silence did not mean peace. The Xylar fleet, though shattered, still lingered, reluctant to admit defeat. Commander Alara Voss knew better than to trust silence. Scan the sector, she ordered. Identify all remaining threats. No ship leaves this system to harm Valoria ever again. The crew responded with calm efficiency. Human scanners picked up scattered Xylar vessels attempting to retreat. Most were damaged, crippled, and leaderless. The Deathworlders did not hesitate. Pursuit was immediate, precise, and merciless. Every Xylar ship that tried to flee was intercepted, its weapons neutralized, its crew subdued. Valoria's citizens watched from the skies and floating cities. Cheers erupted as they realized the humans were not just defending, they were finishing the fight. Tears streamed down faces, old and young alike, as they saw their saviors strike decisively, leaving no room for return. On board the Dauntless, Voss gave a calm order. Prepare for boarding. No survivors among enemy leadership. They will not rise again. Elite squads launched into pods, streaking across space toward Xylar command vessels. The boarding Marines moved with lethal grace, disabling systems, cutting power conduits, and neutralizing any resistance. In minutes, the remaining Xylar fleet was broken beyond repair. Humanity had proven that survival was not luck or chance. It was skill, endurance, and courage. The Valorians could hardly comprehend what they saw. Ships that had seemed invincible were being taken apart by humans in ways that appeared almost impossible. Every movement was precise, every strike calculated. And through it all, the humans fought not for glory or conquest, but to protect a species they had never met until hours ago. A Valorian leader approached the viewing deck of one of the orbiting cities, his face pale but awed. "They are extraordinary," he whispered to a fellow leader. "They do not fight for power. They fight to protect, and yet they are unstoppable." Voss turned to her tactical officer. "Confirm Valoria's orbital sectors are secure. Civilian casualties? Minimal, Commander. Evacuation teams were effective. The people are safe." "Good," Voss replied. Her voice was calm yet carried a weight of unspoken pride. Humanity did not fight for recognition, but success had a way of commanding respect. The Xylar remnants were fleeing in scattered groups, unable to regroup. Voss's fleet shadowed them, ensuring none would escape to threaten Valoria or any other helpless world. Finally, when the last vessel was neutralized, she allowed herself a moment to look upon the planet they had saved. Below, the Valorians emerged from their shelters. The people cheered, danced, and embraced one another, celebrating life they had feared they would lose forever. Statues of their city's founders and heroes would be remembered, but today they understood who their true saviors were. A young Valorian child ran toward a small memorial plaza, looking skyward. "Thank you," he whispered, eyes shining. "Thank you for saving us." Voss received transmissions from Valorian leaders, their voices trembling with gratitude. "Commander Voss, humanity has done what no one else could. Your people, your warriors, are unlike anything in history. We are in your debt." Voss's response was simple, almost understated. "We did what was necessary. That is all. Your people are alive. That is all that matters." The Valorians paused, realizing the depth of her words. The humans had not acted for reward, for fame, or for recognition. They had acted because it was right, because they could, because no one deserved to be abandoned to death when survival was possible. In the quiet moments after the battle, the Dauntless and its fleet remained in orbit, a vigilant shadow over the planet. Voss walked the bridge, her gaze scanning the stars. "They will rebuild," she said softly. "And they will remember. Not the weapons, not the warships, but the humans who came when no one else could." The Valorians began sending emissaries to the fleet. Some came with gifts, some with words, and some simply to witness the humans who had saved their world. Everywhere they went, the truth became undeniable. These were beings who had endured worlds of fire, hunger, and death, and emerged stronger every time. They were not just warriors. They were legends. Voss observed the first group of emissaries approaching. "Welcome them," she instructed her crew. "We protect. We do not conquer. Let them see who we are." And as the Valorians approached, eyes wide with awe and gratitude, one thing became crystal clear. Humanity was not only capable of surviving the impossible, they were capable of inspiring it. The Deathworlders had arrived. They had fought, and they had won. And Valoria would never forget. The Valorian sky was calm at last. Smoke from the shattered Xylar fleet drifted slowly into the void, fading into darkness. For the first time in weeks, the twin suns shone without threat, illuminating oceans and cities that had survived annihilation. The planet was safe, and the humans, those fearsome Deathworlders, were preparing to leave. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, her eyes scanning the horizon. The battle was over, yet her vigilance remained. The Xylar were defeated, but the galaxy remained dangerous. She allowed herself only a small moment to reflect. Humanity had come, fought, and saved a world that had never known them. No fanfare, no glory, only duty fulfilled. Below, Valorian citizens celebrated. Songs were sung, children laughed freely, and elders wept in relief. Statues would be raised in memory of this day, and tales would be passed for generations. But no tale would capture the courage, the precision, and the sheer fearlessness of humanity. The Valorians had glimpsed something extraordinary, an entire species tempered by the harshest trials the galaxy could offer, a species that thrived where others would perish. Voss's first contact team landed on a Valorian city to meet the leaders. The aliens approached cautiously, still in awe of the humans who had moved across space and through death with such unwavering purpose. "We cannot thank you enough," said one Valorian elder, voice trembling. "You saved our people, our homes, our lives. You are unlike any beings we have known." Voss nodded simply. "We did what we must. That is all. Your survival is proof enough that we have done our duty." The Valorians hesitated, sensing that her words carried weight beyond humility. These humans did not seek recognition. They did not fight for fame. They fought because it was necessary, because survival was the measure of life, and they would not let the helpless perish if they could help. In the following hours, the Valorians presented gifts, symbols of gratitude and admiration. Artifacts, precious metals, and rare crystals flowed into human hands, but Voss declined most. "Keep your treasures," she said. "Share your knowledge, strengthen your people, and remember what it means to survive together." The humans had given more than life. They had given hope. Hope that could not be measured by material wealth. Hope that could not be broken by fear. Hope that would endure in the hearts of an entire species. From orbit, Voss watched Valoria, its oceans shimmering, its cities alive with celebration. She felt a rare stir of emotion. Humanity was far from home, facing dangers that would terrify any other species. And yet, they had succeeded. They had survived. They had inspired. The Deathworlder fleet prepared to depart. Engines powered up, shields realigned, and jump gates synchronized. The Xylar had been vanquished. The Valorians were safe. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. A young Valorian child ran to the edge of the observation platform, eyes wide. "Will they come back?" he asked, clutching his mother's hand. "They may," she whispered, "and even if they do not, we will never forget them." Voss gave the order for the jump. The fleet shimmered, space bending around them as they disappeared into the stars. In their wake, a sense of awe lingered across Valoria. Citizens gazed upward, knowing that the humans who had saved them were gone, but their legacy remained. Among the stars, the Dauntless sailed silently. Commander Voss stood alone on the bridge, reflecting on the day's events. "We fight because it must be done," she murmured. "We endure because we can. We survive because we are humanity." Somewhere deep in the galaxy, the scattered Xylar fleets would carry tales of defeat. A species they had underestimated had risen from death itself to shatter their plans. Humans were no ordinary warriors, they were Deathworlders, unstoppable and unyielding, a force born from planets that would have killed anyone else. Back on Valoria, the celebrations continued. Leaders vowed to remember the humans' courage and honor their deeds. Stories would be told for centuries. Children would grow up hearing of the strange and fearless beings who had come from distant stars to fight, to protect and to survive. And in the quiet spaces between the stars, humanity continued its journey. The galaxy was vast, full of threats, full of wonders, and full of worlds in need of help. The Deathworlders would face them all, guided by the same unbreakable principles: courage, endurance, and the unyielding will to protect life against impossible odds. Commander Voss looked at the void ahead, her expression resolute. "We will go wherever we are needed," she said softly, "and we will survive. Always." The legend of humanity, the Deathworlders, would echo through the galaxy. Their courage, strength, and unwavering will to protect would be remembered not just by Valoria, but by every world that dared to dream of hope in the darkness. Because humans do not give up. Humans do not back down. Humans endure, and where they go, hope follows.